Are we allowed to have that word?
Yep.
Really?
Yeah.
The
So,
old tube allowed it. All right, gotcha.
yep. Because we are doing modeling shoots. I'm just pointing out that like you can say that word because it has many meanings.
Ah, okay.
Okay, so once again we are sorting out our true crime segment with the Casey parade shootings, which is like really awful, and we again our our hearts are with Kansas City. I'm going to be discussing some really great GoFundMe's and donation sites out there in this segment. So if you feel so inclined, you can donate. Um, so this kid over here, by the way, he was actually got shot at the parades, and he is recovering and doing great. And he was in this interview. I'm not going to talk about his name because he is a minor, so I'll just allow him to remain private. But he's one of the 22 people, and so we love to see the come up and the recovery. We love it. That's why I chose him. But just to kind of update what happened, as we discussed last week, two juveniles have been charged. But then now we have two grown adults that have been arrested this week as well, that are charged with second-degree M. Allegedly, Jesus. Okay. One of the charged adults, Lindell Mays, got into a dispute with other individuals, leading him to draw a firearm. In result, several other individuals pulled their firearms out when they saw his, including our other charged man, Dominic Miller. He's a relative. Just kidding. Not okay. Not a way. Miller's firearm is believed to be the one that ended Lisa Lopez Galvin's life, so that's why he's being charged. I believe Mays is being charged because he's the one that instigated the bringing out of firearms, but I'm not sure. We'll get into that later. Surveillance cameras show Miller was standing a few feet away from the argument when he pulled out his firearm and chased someone while he was firing his firearm. He shot in the direction of people, including just a random group of people he didn't know, including Miss Lisa, who's passed away. Miller was also shot in the melee and tripped over a cone while still shooting before he ran from the scene. It sounds like a yeah. So in an epic, okay, this is insane. The mother of Lindell Mays, one of the charged men, an epic misreading of the room, set up a GoFundMe for him while he was going through a tragic time. And Mays has been in the ICU recovering from 9 bullet wounds and multiple surgeries. But she actually put up a GoFundMe for her son, who ended up being charged. Yeah, only $100 was raised, and they brought it down when he was formally charged because they didn't want the negative retributions. Little late. Okay, 1 dead, 22 injured, 9 of which were children. We discussed that. Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about what the team did that was so cool. So Harrison Bucker, the Casey kicker, he did the sweetest thing. So Miss Lopez Galvin, the one person who passed away during this situation, the casualty, was wearing a Bucker jersey at the parade, a specific white version of the jersey. So the family reached out on Twitter, X, whatever, said Chiefs Kingdom, looking for another jersey like it, because I guess it was like a special edition or something like that, because they wanted to bury her in it. And so Bucker personally donated one of his jerseys that was white, like the one that she had, to the family so that she can be buried in it. So like I thought that was the sweetest thing, and he felt like a really strong connection to her, and partially because of their mutual Catholicism. So tears. Patrick and Brittany and Mahomes visited the Children's Mercy Hospital this week, which made me tear up a little bit to visit the Reyes family. Both the 8-year-old and 10-year-old daughter are recovering from getting shot in the legs. And the Travis Kelsey Foundation, 87 and running, donated $100K to the Reyes family GoFundMe, which you can find on their website titled Reyes. It's on GoFundMe titled Reyes Family Fund. And I shared it on Twitter/X last night if you want to find it, because I know everyone follows me there. Of course.
Mhm.
And Taylor Swift donated $100K to the Lopez Galvin family at their GoFundMe, which you can find on the website titled Elizabeth Lopez Galvin Memorial. The Chiefs worked together with United Way to create an emergency response fund called KC Strong. The club, the Hunt Family Foundation, and the NFL donated $200K that will go to victims and their families, violence prevention, mental health services, and first responders. And they've almost raised, they almost have, or they have raised $1 million by now. You can find that at give.unitedwaygkc.org /p/KC Strong. So there, if you feel so inclined. Obviously a horrible travesty that resulted from a dispute, which is terrible, and so many people are injured and hurt, but it is beautiful to see the community rally and to see the players really supporting their community. And so we can dwell on that positivity while we're focusing on what we can do better in this area. So our thoughts are still with all the families, of course, especially the Reyes girls. So little, and like I have a niece that's around the age of the littlest one, and I just can't imagine. So yeah, so we have more people in the Slam, and we'll keep an eye on Mays and Miller and the 2 juveniles and see what happens there. So we're back to the Jackie Robinson statue theft. Have you been keeping up with that, Caleb?
I have not. I didn't even hear about it.
Yeah, so in Wichita, Kansas, which is important because of Jackie Robinson's, spent time there, wrote there, I don't know, whatever. Anyway, they had a statue and it got stolen from the from the ankles up. Maybe a month ago, Ryan?
Just over a month. Just over a month, I think.
Yeah, and it was a huge deal. I mean, it made like national TV. It was.
What's this guy looking at?
He's looking at
who's he looking at?
Maybe all of us.
Yeah. At least 2 of us.
Literally the definition of I have my eye on you. Always watching you.
Yes.
Wazowski, I'm always watching you.
He is a gem, isn't he? Okay, so the statue went missing, and the police were like, there's kids like crying because they meant so much. Like all these foundations were like torn up about it. Like they put flowers where like the statue was. He's a very big deal to the community and the kids. So it was a pretty epic thing. They had recording of like they saw a couple people like taking the statue. They saw the truck. Which they detained, and then they have made this arrest. They found the statue like 2 weeks ago burning in a trash can in a public park. And so yeah, and the MLB is paying to have it remade. They still have the mold or whatever from the original foundation. So and then they raised quite a bit of money before the MLB donated the statue, so they're going to use that for like the kids program. So super cool on that end, but it's been a big whodunit, okay? And we found this guy, but there's more to it. I mean, this story, this is 45-year-old Ricky Angel Alderete, or Incarnate.
Incarnate.
Admitted to being one of the many to steal the statue from one of the most okay, and then one of the reasons that they could find the truck is because it's one of the most busted trucks ever. The front passenger wheel is different from the rear one. The front tire is a spare tire.
Now I can see why they wanted it for scrap metal.
And the rear passenger wheel had an aftermarket rim on it. In the front, there was a temporary taillight over the driver's side tailgate. So it was easy for them to find. The truck has been tied to a couple, with the husband being spotted driving it post theft.
One of one.
Yeah, yeah. Despite the wife saying that they didn't use it, they didn't know what it was. Anyway, the truck was actually used to bring scrap metal to a scrapyard a few days before the theft. A man, we don't know who, because they interviewed like over 1,000 people or something. They're very thorough about this. A man showed a text message from Alderete where he complains about they were only offered $1 a pound bronze instead of the expected $2.50 of a pound. So the amount would have to be split between 3 people. So Ricky Angel here was letting us know that it wasn't just him, which I think we can all figure out he wasn't the mastermind on this one.
Hey, Mom.
Allegedly,
What makes you say that?
I mean, it just looks like it's too heavy for him to carry.
Yeah.
Okay, so Ricky Angel has graced us with some information. He was at a drug house on the night of the crime when a white blonde man with an Irish accent named Rory arrived and wanted this gem of a man to help them with a scrap metal job with allegedly the truck owner and Rory. Alderete says that this random Irishman in Wichita, Kansas, cut the statue off at the legs, and Ricky Angel helped Rory to push it over, and then they got it into the back of the truck. I guess the man who owned the truck never actually left the driver's seat, which is like a little lazy. And then they brought it to a local scrap metal yard where some men there carried the statue to a backyard shed, and then Ricky never saw it again. And he didn't see it being dismembered or dismetaled. And he never got paid. So either. So we're not sure how it got from the scrap metal yard to being in a trash can burned. We still have more missing pieces here, but it has really heated up over here in Kansas.
He's just not very good at his job.
No, and he didn't even get paid. I mean, the audacity of this man was just minding his business at a drug house when Irishman Rory came in and bugged him.
Hate that.
I know, and they didn't even pay him. So definitely keeping an eye on this situation. They don't think it's a hate crime. I mentioned that before, but they think it's just a matter of a man trying to get scrap metal money and not nothing to actually do with Jackie Robinson at all. Yeah, so we'll be keeping up on this because I tell you, this story just gets better and better every week. Scott Erickson, and just so we're clear, this is the car that so Rebecca Grossman has been in court for like the last 3 weeks, maybe a month too, and was being charged with she was facing charges for murdering 2 children. Let me see, the 8-year-old Jacob Islander and 11-year-old Mark Islander when she was driving drunk, allegedly through after speed racing with Scott Erickson, the former MLB star. Yeah, they were day speeding, drinking, all that good stuff. And then she couldn't stop in time. The kids ran out into the crosswalk. They got mowed down. She killed them. She's been charged now. But anyways, so this is her car afterwards. So you can see where there's the damage. And yet they still had the audacity to say that Scott Erickson was the actual person who hit the kids when her car looked like this. At the beginning of this last week, Rebecca Grossman's daughter testified that she saw Erickson lurking in the bushes afterwards, after the incident, because apparently after he saw Rebecca mow over these kids, he like pulled over and like was lurking. And I'm like, everybody in the city was at the scene because they have like 50,000 testimonies. Like everybody saw this for some reason. And she was getting a pizza. A pizza was being delivered to her. So she just happened to be at the crime scene. I'm like, what? And then allegedly after she was at the crime scene, she just left with the pizza didn't stay with her mom. She left with the pizza, went back to her house, and Erickson drove there too and threatened Rebecca's daughter to keep quiet and that he was going to ruin her family. So that's their big thing here. But a verdict was reached Friday, and Grossman was found guilty of 2 counts of second-degree M and vehicular manslaughter with gross negligence and hit and run resulting in death. And so she's going to be in the slam for a long time. And nobody bought the whole Scott Erickson thing. So we've been kind of following it here and there. It was like, how involved was he? She was the one who was piping him, and like her husband came in and was like, she didn't really mean to, all the stuff. She was like, my husband can save them because he's a plastic surgeon in Los Angeles. He can make them well again. And it's like, well, they're dead. And she was like, call my plastic surgery husband. So like, anyway, totally out of touch. It's nice to see people getting some consequences, especially people who don't ever have any, because she thinks that her husband can bring people back from the dead. But yep, she's in the slammy, so we'll keep up with like how long and all that kind of stuff. She's 60, so she might just end her time there. But anyway, okay, so this one, while we were talking about the pants shortage, the other situation that felt like it was also an article from The Onion was this one. An English Premier player who's not his name is not disclosed. That seems to be kind of normal. I don't know if it's their legal system, but often these like situations are just described as an undisclosed English Premier player a lot. He had his home taken over by a criminal gang. He lives in northern England. The female occupant of the home, which I believe was a family member of his, was forced to let the gang grow Schmeat in the house when he wasn't there. Are y'all getting this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, forced to grow it?
Yeah.
Like home taken over, forced to grow it.
Yeah, it was taken. The
Feels
house was taken over by a criminal
not
gang,
true.
and the female occupant, I believe it's a family member, was forced to let the gang grow Schmeat in the house. When the police raided the player's home, they found hundreds of plants.
Horseshit.
The player had to prove that they were not his plants. The woman was also cleared after they confirmed she was set up. In the northwest of England, having a pot farm like that could earn a person 14 years in the slammy. And that also goes if you're a landlord who knows about the behavior happening and you didn't do anything to stop it. So the fact that the police has investigated and they're not charging him seems to give some kind of credence to the fact that apparently a gang tried to take over his house and grow a bunch of plants.
Seems
I'm
odd,
like,
to say the least.
what?
It has a smell to it. Like,
I looked at a few different websites just to make sure this wasn't some Daily Mail crap or like The Onion, the English version. Like, no, this is legit. This man's home got taken over, and like his female family member or whoever was living there was forced to help them grow like 100 pot plants.
But why not call the police? Like, you're an English Premier player.
No, he didn't know about it because he was traveling. It's not until the fact that he like saw what was going on, and there's a criminal gang involved. So I'm imagining that they weren't like, hey ma'am, you can call the police. Like, I believe that they forced her. So like, if you have a gang in your house that's like taking it over and growing all those plants, you're probably gonna toe the line because you don't know what they're gonna do.
Probably a little bit.
But I can't even fathom it. Like, we will definitely be following this one if there's ever any more information about it, because I'm like, what is going on in England? I have so many questions.
Yeah, that's a little bit on the oddball side.
I mean, is this real life? Okay, so this man,
what the fuck?
Is not Ricky Angel's son. I know you all were thinking that, but it's not. This is Martin Frick.
Okay.
His name is spelled like fork without the O, but somehow that means Frick because wherever he's from makes no freaking sense. Where's the vowels? Anyway, He's a former NHL player, as you can see evidenced by that lack of tooth there. Frick was suspended 6 games and fined roughly $9,000 by the Swiss National League after kicking an opponent in the head.
Okay.
Martin was initially suspended 1 game, but had 5 more added after a review, and there is no penalty at the time. So I replayed the video over and over to like see if it looked intentional. So what happened was Frick was attempting to check another player. He missed. He crashed into the boards and then went over and like flipped into the like he kind of like tipped over into the opposing team's bench area, if that makes sense. So he's over the side. So then he's kicking his feet because he's trying to regain his balance and get out of the bench. And then he connected with another player's head, Lawrence Palute. However, they were trying to determine at what point did it not become a balancing issue, and it was just like an intentional skate to the head. Which the reason that we're discussing this is because Adam Johnson, there's been some comparisons here because of like how dangerous it could have been. Because
Right.
he got the face, but that's not far from the jugular.
No.
So like, and he was bleeding, you could see it. Yeah, so some of it felt like he was definitely garnering balance, but the review board felt like he continued to kick with an angle that was unusual. The final kick that connected with Lawrence's face it was a very high kick at a weird angle and they replayed the situation from multiple angles. Sometimes it looked pretty innocuous and other times it looked pretty nefarious. But after seeing it, I can see how it looked like that final kick was intentional. It's definitely sus. And when he turned around and saw that he had kicked his skate into his opponent's face and that he was bleeding, he didn't look surprised, which definitely seemed like he was intentionally trying to land a kick. And he was most worried about getting a penalty and not the fact that his opponent's face was bleeding. So yeah, just another wild time out in the hockey world. I feel like I have watched way more time of injuries and like weird sports gestures like Draymond Green's like finger thing last week to figure out if things look violent or if they just look like he's like or if they're just like unintentional.
Yeah.
Like it's a weird part of the
Bunch of passive aggressive.
Like did Matt Petgrave mean to slice open? It kind of looks like a karate kick. We don't know. And so it's like I can't believe how much time I now have to spend watching people do things that could be violent and could just be innocuous. Anyway, so that was wild. I heard rumor that there could have actually been some charges, but there was nothing like brought against him, like because that's kind of the discussion with Adam Johnson is because it's extremely rare and almost never works when you like try to do charges like in the real world from things that happen on the sports world. So I believe Martin Frick is not going to get charged with anything, but if he does, we'll know. But it was just another wild situation where it could have gone so wrong and with all these weird kicking things that are happening. So Isaiah Stewart here.
Come back.
All the criminal charges have been dropped. After he got arrested for punching Drew Eubanks in the pregame fight outside the arena last week. He will face a 3-game suspension without pay once he's healthy because he was out with an ankle injury for a while now, almost a month, and so he's supposed to be cleared for play right around now. So the 3-game suspension will start soon, and he will not be heading to the Slam. So there we go. Just a little update on that, and an intriguing resolution to a really ridiculous scenario. And we are going to finish out the segment with Ryan's discussion about Sharice Wright.
Yeah, this is actually kind of fucked up, to be honest.
Mhm.
Sharice Wright is an ex-NFL cornerback. He was drafted in the 3rd round of the 2011 draft to the Chargers. He bounced around the league from 2011 to 2018, pretty much a nobody. But he has identified himself as one of 12 anonymous plaintiffs accusing former high school athletic trainer of actually peppering him
Mm.
while they were minors at Southern Cali High School. So the person of interest is actually Tiffany Strauss Gordon. He was originally one of 6 people who is suing her. Yeah, yes, suing her, yes, for fondling him. He originally sued her in the Unified School District in 2022. The number since grew to 12. She was suspended in 2022 and denies allegations. Wright met her when he was 15 in 2002. She was 21 and began to seek him out, displayed favoritism, gave him a pet nickname, flirted, began to no touch him over the next 3 years. And he even inflated him like a balloon in training room, among other things. Yeah. Yeah, this is a whole Donnie Burger situation.
I'm trying to think, who is that woman who got pregnant by her like 13-year-old?
Donnie Burger.
No, it was somebody else.
I don't remember her name.
Yeah, and it was and then they got married and then they had kids and were
Yeah.
married for a long time. Yeah,
So
Mary Lou, I think it was.
Mary Lou Retton.
Hold on. Anyway,
Anywho, she claims that she's being filed against for money. Police obtained evidence that says school officials knew about allegations against Gordon as far back as 2011.
Wow.
Yeah. A lot of guys.
Mary Kay Letourneau.
Mary Kayla Turno.
Yeah, she was the young teacher who impregnated her 13-year-old and then went to jail for it and then got out and then they raised a family together and she's dead now. She died of cancer, but she to her dying day said that it was not her being a ped and was not
Jeez.
yeah, and that it was all consensual because he's a man, because that's how that works, Mary Lou. Mary Kay, whatever. Mary fuck off. So like yeah, I was shocked by this when you mentioned this, Ryan. I think this is not something that we hear about all that often, and I am thrilled to fucking bits that we are having boys feel comfortable. My nephew is 13, and if I had a fucking Mary Kay in his classroom, she would be gone. And I'm yelling that into my microphone. She'd be gone. Okay? Like, he's a baby.
You muted yourself, Julie.
Like, my nephew's a baby trying to go to school. And so was the other guy. So, like,
damn.
So, this man is 15 when this creepy grooming ped decided to and boys do not.
He decided to turn him into Boppo the fighting clown.
We don't give boys the vocabulary to even explain when this kind of things happen, especially back in the day with Mary Kay. They often.
Yeah, she was actually the coach's daughter who was coaching him.
The audacity. So, like, we don't give boys the vocabulary. We don't, like, and a lot of the times they can go on to, like, have problematic relationships. I'm not saying that they're going to go on and abuse someone, but it does alter your ability to be intimate. And
Yeah.
often they can't get the therapy or the treatment that they needed. They won't. They don't even have given the opportunity to feel like a victim often because they're a boy and they like it. And so it robs their autonomy, and it's disgusting. And we will be I will fight anyone personally who makes any comments about the fact that he should have liked it. It was something. How could this happen without his consent? Because we don't understand grooming children happens to both genders. Anyway, so I really appreciate that he's coming out to discuss this.
He's the only one, actually, the only one that's discussing this. Everybody else has remained anonymous.
Well, he probably has the most clout because he used to be in the NFL. And so
Likely, yeah.
these other people are probably just random Joe Schmoes in the community. And so he's using his platform from his past experiences to bring it out. And I am loving the era of bringing out all these nasty female pets because people always say they don't exist. It's not a real thing. It is. It's gross. It's out there. And I will find you if it comes up with any of my nephews. And it's a problem. And I really appreciate him bringing attention to it. And it also speaks a lot to our society when we jump to, if a male teacher did this, everybody would flip out. And with the fact that we sometimes undermine what happens to these boys, we don't give them therapy, we don't give them like the respect to be able to say that it wasn't a consensual thing, is disgusting. These are children who are being robbed of their innocence, and I'll be damned if it happens and I don't have something to say about it. So I appreciate Charisse bringing this up. Let us make this a movement. Let's bring all these creepy pets to justice, okay? Female, male, everybody. I don't care if you, female, male, and everybody else. You go
Amen,
after
brother.
kids, and we gonna find you. Like it's gonna be like, what's his name? Chris Hansen. Yeah.
Oh, To Catch a Predator.
Exactly. That's what it's
Yeah.
gonna be like. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
So
boy,
fighting. Love to see it. And
this is a great episode.
Yeah, and hopefully we get to talk about how she gets locked away.
Yeah. Caleb, it's been awesome having you back, man. Don't leave me again.
It was a good episode. I enjoyed it a lot.
All right. I think that's it for this week. Make sure to comment, like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Ding. If we haven't scared you away with our awesomeness, hit that, definitely let us know. Support the children in our comments.
If you want a t-shirt, let us know. We got
merch.
t-shirts, got merch,
Kind of.
sorta.
Yeah, but we're working on it.
Yeah.
I guess we'll see everybody next week, right, Caleb?
That's right.
We'll be here.
All right. See y'all next week.